Well, everything then was experimental. We didn't have any idea what the hell we were doing. Um, well, it had been established. I mean, the jumpers became a project a going concern in 1939, and I didn't come aboard till 1957. So the procedure was pretty well established, but it was archaic. And we were doing an awful lot of experimenting with no radio communication and terrible aircraft compared to nowadays. Little 28-foot parachutes that just, that's why I got a fake hip. You bust your ass about 200 times and you're going to wear it bone on bone. But it's hard to, I just can't describe in any one example what it was like to be a jumper. It was all so different. There was the fear and the drama and the combat, and there was the hilarious and the utterly boring. So the story, they were just starting to play with air tankers for aerial retardant. And the prime carrier, and it's the only one we had really, was called a TBM. It was a World War II ship, lead sled, had a glide ratio like a sewer lid, and it packed all of 500 gallons of slop. It was a torpedo bomber medium, TBM. 500 gallons, that was the max load that ever went out. So our prime carrier, we had two of them back then. The DC-3 or the C-47 was there, just like they have nowadays. Not the modern version, but the old Doug. And we had one DC-2 and the Ford Trimotor. Back then, Johnson's flying service here, the mountain pilots had at least 8 of them stacked up there. I wish I had a photograph of that. And the Ford Trimotor was one of the prime carriers. My first jump was second man out of a Ford. It would carry 8 guys and gear. And we had a fabric and wood canvas job called a Travel Air, Curtiss Wright Travel Air, and that carried 2 guys. So anyway, back to this Ford, they decided they're going to make a slop wagon out of the Ford, and they're going to try that. And they'd experimented with it, and the pilot was having trouble. The traps underneath to release the slop were stuck, and he couldn't figure out what to do. So we were parked on he had a full load on that Ford, and we were parked on the apron here at the AFD. And he says, Davis, I want you to crawl under there and see what's going on while I'm playing with this thing. So I'm laying there looking up at the belly of the goddamn Ford, and he hits the traps. And I don't know how many 100 gallons was in that thing, but it just douched me right down the apron, and I went sliding out the other side. And he said, well, that didn't work. So they didn't use the Ford no more.